Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to another episode of Becoming a Wild Rift Expert. And in today's video we're going to be looking at the two best teams in North America right now. And the reason that I'm saying best teams in North America is because this is the grand finals of the North American live event that is happening right now, or yesterday, sorry, it happened yesterday. And it's between Immortals and Sentinels, and I'm starting during the draft. Before giving some background on the teams, let's quickly talk about the draft because there is a reason why I started here. If we look at Sentinels draft, they completely outdrafted Immortals. The Riven does really well into the Garen and into the Olaf. The Jarvan can stop Olaf with the Jarvan ultimate. You know, when Olaf goes with his Ragnarok, he cannot run through a wall. Next up we have Brand. This is another champion that does massive damage per second, which yet again counters the Olaf and the Garen frontlines that Immortals has to offer. Corki as well. Just Sentinels has quite literally have the perfect draft right here. However, now let's quickly give you some background on these teams. Immortals, unbeatable. They haven't lost a single game before this entire series. You know, these are the grand finals and Immortals hasn't lost a game. They just swept every team. And Sentinels is a bit of a dark horse, you know, very good team. But you know, up against a team like Tribe, people didn't really think Sentinels would make it, but they did. They beat all the odds, they beat every single team, and they made it to the grand finals. So just phenomenal teams playing up against each other. So let's take a look at how they play, right? And if we look at both compositions, let's just zoom in into both compositions a little bit. Immortals will struggle in the late game, right? Like if you look at the Olaf, this is an early mid-game champion, and sure, he can do well late game against some compositions, but that's why I started the video in the draft, because against the composition of Sentinels, he cannot. The Corki deals massive damage, Brand deals massive damage, Riven deals massive damage, and the Jarvan can stop the Olaf. So this is the danger that Immortals has to deal with, right? Like Lebmont on the Olaf has to use that flash already to get out of the Jarvan ult, which means he is essentially playing without a flash. So now let's stop talking about the draft and actually look at the game. So here in the bot lane, we have Beginnings on the Galio, Rest on the Brand, up against Gume on the Lucian and Charm on the Lulu. I want to highlight though, like Gume and Charm on the side of Immortals are such an incredible duo. They are so good. They are just so good. And I wouldn't say this because, you know, obviously all pro players are good. But even among the pro players, Gume and Charm just, oh my god, these guys are incredible. So the way that Immortals plays, you know, I'm gonna tell you guys how these teams play so you can understand a bit better why they make certain decisions, because this is completely different from any other region, right? Like EU plays very strong Baron lanes, you know, they go for the Camille's, the Fioras, the Graves, they play around the Baron lanes, and we see other regions roam around a lot. The way that NA plays, especially Immortals, they play like a bit of a weak side Baron lane. We have Irakizoro on the Garen right here. What they do is they put Irakizoro on a tank, you know, like the Malphite, like the Garen, like the Darius, etc, the Shan. Oh, let's take a look at this dive, by the way. Look at this, Immortals going super deep for those kills and they're falling so low. And oh my god, look at this. They get 2 kills and none of them die. What a perfect dive right there. Wow, Charm taking that last shot as well. What an amazing dive. And we're going to be seeing a replay of that very soon. But I was talking about the way that Immortals plays the game. They play a weak side Baron lane, they put Araki on a tank, he just, you know, makes sure he doesn't feed, he just, you know, plays in his lane and then goes for a hole breaker and split pushes all game long. And you know what's funny, this literally happens every single game. And this is not only Immortals, every team does it, but especially Immortals. So essentially, weak side Baron lane, which means no ganks for the Baron lane, all focus on the Dragon and the mid lane. Baron laner picks a tank that is very easy to play, Baron laner builds a hole breaker and Baron laner split pushes. That is literally all that happens. So it may sound stupid, but it works like a charm. Get it? It works like a charm. And then Charm on the Lulu as well. He's gonna show you a whole different kind of perspective on the Lulu, a whole different playstyle, because we all know Lulu as an enchanter, but no spoilers, but he's gonna show you a whole different side of Lulu. So NA also likes to roam around with the supports, and obviously this is the best, well, I'm saying obviously, but it's not obvious, this is the best way to play supports. I make a lot of support videos on my YouTube channel as well, and recently I actually hit Challenger only playing support, you know, exclusive support gameplay, and I learned a lot from these supports, right? Like, as you can see, Charm and Beginnings are roaming to the mid lane now. Why? Test your knowledge. This is the test your knowledge for today. Why are both Charm and Beginnings on the support role, both simultaneously rotating to the mid lane? Is this coincidence? Why would they do that? Put it in the comments test your knowledge. There's multiple reasons, and if you get one of them right, you've already succeeded. So pause the video right now, test your knowledge, put it in the comments. I'm gonna reveal it right now. So there's multiple reasons. Reason number 1, Rift Herald and Dragon are spawning, right? They want to be around the Rift Herald and the Dragon, as you can see. Reason, oh, what a beautiful dive, by the way, that was amazing. But reason number 2, they want to be able to push out waves so their mid laner can backport as fast as possible. Essentially, the one answer is priority. You want to have lane priority. You know, I'm giving all these reasons, but it's about lane priority. You want to be able to push out your wave, shove out your wave, poke out the enemy so you can backport before the enemy and make the enemy lose a lot of gold and time, and you're going to be faster at the Rift Herald and the Dragon. That is why, and that is why these teams do it, and it's not coincidence at all. So here we can see both teams trading objectives, and I like it for Sentinels. Oh, look at Mali. Oh my god, he just destroys Iraqi Zoro on the Garen right there. I thought it was a wasted package, but he just goes for it and gets the kill. What an amazing dive right there. But what I was gonna say is the reason that this is good for Sentinels is because they outskill Immortals. They will be able to push a Baron lane turret. They will be able to push a turret, and I would recommend them to push either the mid lane or the Dragon lane, because you know NA plays weak side Baron lane, which means you don't want to be funneling too much gold on the Baron laners, you know, because it's a Jarvan and a Garen anyways. These are tanks. You want to be funneling gold on the Brand. You want to be funneling gold on the Corki, you know. Rest and Mali are the ones that are going to carry the game for Sentinels. So what I'm expecting to see from Sentinels, now that they have the Rift Herald, is for Sheesh on the Riven to be either putting it down in the mid lane, the Rift Herald, or in the bottom lane, and, you know, funnel a lot of gold for Rest and Mali. Let's actually see what happens, because I don't really remember it. We can see Beginnings actually constantly roam around, by the way. This is a thing that Galio is very, very good at because of his second ability. As you can see, the taunt provides a lot of value. And right here, they're doing a full engage on Iraqi Zoro, which is actually a mistake. Iraqi Zoro perfectly playing his role as a tank, you know, soaking up all the damage. He did die regardless, but Sentinels fell in a bit of a trap right there because they hard focused Iraqi Zoro. So let's actually take a look at the replay of that fight and talk to you why that happened. So here we can see Sentinels approaching the team fight, and this is why this weak side Baron lane tactic is so good. Because let's take a look at Iraqi Zoro right there on the Garen. He engages. It may look like he's in a bad position, but he's not, because he's a tank. He soaks up so much damage, kills the Riven. Sure, he actually dies because Rest does an amazing job on the Brand, who does a lot of damage to champions like the Garen, but he did a phenomenal job frontlining, and this will only get better in the late game. Like, even though Immortal's composition becomes weaker in the late game, Iraqi Zoro on the Garen is gonna be a massive problem for Sentinels, because if they fall into the trap of hard focusing Iraqi Zoro on the Garen, they're gonna be wasting so many abilities, they're gonna be wasting so much damage, which is exactly the plan of Immortals, you know, and then Immortals can win the team fight. So let's actually see how Sentinels plays around this. And ooh, Sheesh is waiting right there, you know, he's deciding, ooh, should I go in or should I not go in? And the beautiful ward from Immortals, by the way, you know, revealing everyone. This is a bit dangerous for Immortals, which Immortals also understands, of course, and they're backing off. Really, really nice warding, by the way, because if we look at the map right there, we can see, oh, actually Riven is walking over it, but we can see two very, very good wards for Immortals right there. This is such, like, these are subtle things, but so unimaginably important, because right now, boom, they can see that Sheesh is on the red side, right? Like, this information is so important for Immortals, and these two wards right there essentially allowed them to just stay alive right there, because they knew that Beginnings was roaming around. They knew everything that was happening right there. Right now we can see a lane swap as well. It seems like people are putting a lot of priority on the next Rift Herald. And another thing that I want to highlight is these Baron laners that are going for the redemptions. You know, we can see MTS on the Jarvan, he's taking a redemption, and I'm gonna spoil it already. Iraqi Zoro is also gonna be taking a redemption on the Garen. And the reason that they do that is because they find more value in it than the Stoneplate enchant. It's a bit questionable in my opinion, because sure, it's very good during team fights, but you know, combined with a Hole Breaker, because a lot of these Baron laners like to go for the Hole Breakers, so it's good to have a good enchantment in a 1 versus 1 situation, but they actually choose to go for these team fighting enchantments. So yeah, let's see. Iraqi Zoro here, ooh, actually, Sheesh drops the Rift Herald here, which I think is a bit questionable. And Rest, what are you doing? No, he just dies. Rest just got killed. Sentinels did get the turret, but Rest on the brand falls to the ultimate of Iraqi Zoro right there. Beautiful, beautiful catch. Rest did not pay attention to that ward right there. Wow, he just got blown up right there. Oh, what a tragedy. Even though they got the turret, this is not looking that good for Rest, because if we look at the gold count, Rest is sitting on 5.4 thousand gold. He has the Rod of Ages as well, which means he's very weak right now, and Mali on the Corki has to use his package, which forces Hoon to use his flash, by the way, which is pretty good for them. But now Mali doesn't have a package anymore, and Immortals is gonna struggle during this dragon fight if it's a full-on 5 versus 5. So Immortals seems like they want a backport right here. Now Immortals can actually fight, and they have to fight really. Because Corki wasted his package. Well, it was not a waste because he forced Hoon to flash, but Corki used up his package, and Immortals loses this in the late game. That is why Immortals has to take this fight. They really have to try to get this dragon. So let's take a look at what happens. We can see Sentinels try to burst down the dragon, and Beginning goes in with the taunt and dealing massive damage, tanking up everything. But yet again, Sentinels falls to the trap of Iraqi Zoro. They do, however, secure the dragon, and they actually get the dragon with only one fallen soldier, which is MTS on the Jarvan. Beautiful teamfight by Immortals, but even more beautiful focus by Sentinels, because Sentinels was able to snatch away the dragon, which is such an important objective for them, because the Mountain Dragon is going to make them tankier in the late game, and they skill in the late game. So as you look into this replay, here we can see Iraqi Zoro on the Garen. Beautiful, beautiful positioning right there. You know, everyone goes in, but Iraqi is standing in the middle there. You can see Sentinels cannot do anything in this team fight, but Sheesh on the Riven, beautiful secure on the dragon right there, which is really the important objective during that team fight. They got the dragon, they only lost one champion, you know, which is MTS on the Jarvan, which is totally worth it, and they got away with it. Sure, Immortals got a Rift Herald, but it is okay. It is okay to take this compromise, right? Like, Sentinels is behind 3,000 gold, but you have to keep in mind they outskill super hard. I do want to talk about Rest on the brand though, because, you know, I hate to say it, but I personally don't like this brand build, because Rod of Ages, this is my personal opinion, Rod of Ages is a very cheap item that skills into the late game, which is a very good item to go for if you go for a brand support. If you play support brand, you won't get a lot of gold, which means the Rod of Ages will be great. But when you're playing brand in Dragon Lane, you should be getting a lot of gold, which means you can actually get away with going for the Luden's Echo, Infinity Orb, Rabadon's Death Cap, boom, 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 just damage upon damage upon damage. And Rest is actually taking a bit more of a passive approach, which is the Rod of Ages, which scales into the late game. And then we actually have a fight right here. I don't remember the name of the item, the anti-healing item he's going for it as well. The reason that item is very good on Brand is because Brand deals a lot of AoE damage, and he burns the enemy for a few seconds, which means throughout that burn, he's going to be applying the anti-heal during the whole duration. And that is also why an item like Liandry's is very good on Brand, because, you know, you're burning the enemy, you're constantly reapplying the Liandry's, and you're constantly dealing a lot of damage. So now we can see Iraqi Zoro has the Black Cleaver and the Hull Breaker, which means he's gonna be split pushing, and the Rift Herald actually doesn't go through. Sentinel stops the Rift Herald push, which is massive because they actually saved their mid lane turret because of that. And Immortals is everywhere, as you can see. They're on the top side, they're on the bot side, they're in the mid side, but a bit of an unfortunate Rift Herald for them right there. And here, Iraqi Zoro should never die against MTS. Like, there is absolutely no way Iraqi Zoro dies with that build right now against MTS. I do like the builds that Sentinels went for, by the way. Divine Sunderer on the Jarvan, Divine Sunderer on the Riven. These are very, very nice builds. Although I'm not a fan of Black Cleaver Corki, but this is a bit of a meme going between NA and EU, right? Like, we meme the Black Cleaver Corki, and NA just always builds it. But let's not talk too much about memes right there. Let's actually focus on the game right here. We can see Labmont using his ultimate just to get that turret, but he doesn't even get the turret. And here we can see it, MTS with the Jarvan ultimate, and then boom, Labmont instant flash. This is what I mean. Essentially, Labmont doesn't even have a flash this game, because he will always have to flash out of MTS's ultimate. And now we can just see the superiority of Immortals. We can clearly see this is the better macro team. They are pushing turrets, right? Like, they're everywhere on the map. And this is why Immortals is unbeaten, because Immortals is 4,000 gold ahead. Even though they got even objectives, They're 4,000 gold ahead, as you can see. Both teams got one turret, but this is the reason why Immortals is 4,000 gold ahead, because they're everywhere. They're constantly pushing waves, they're constantly making Sentinels lose a lot of gold, they're just constantly farming the jungle, they're just doing better. They are just doing better in this game right now. And especially Iraqi Zoro in this particular game, he's ahead by like 1.3 thousand gold on the Garen. Built the Randuin's Omen as well, and actually Randuin's Omen? Randuin's Omen? That item makes absolutely no sense into this composition. Randuin's Omen is a very good item against attack speed heavy compositions and crit heavy compositions. If we actually look at Sentinels, only Corki deals crit damage and only Corki wants attack speed. But let's stop talking about it. There is a team fight out there. Sentinels got a free Infernal Dragon right there. And as you can see, they're taking the passive approach. They're taking the very passive approach. They're like, we don't need to fight. We're gonna win late game, which is the correct approach in this scenario. But again, I have no idea why Iraqi Zoro would go for the Randuin's Omen right here. I would love to hear an explanation because it makes absolute zero sense in my opinion. He would be much better off going for an item like the Deadman's Plate, which would allow him to roam around a lot, or the Starrick's Cage, which would make him very tanky. Randuin's Omen is just... I don't know. But enough about that. We can see Rest on the brand finally picks up his Liandry's, which is a phenomenal item for him right now. This is an amazing item on brand because he, especially with that ultimate, guys, he's going to be able to apply that Liandry's on everyone. He's going to be able to apply the anti-healing on everyone for like 7 or 8 seconds because his abilities burn the enemy for 3 seconds, and then Liandry's burns the enemies for another few seconds, which means anti-healing gets applied all the time. And Brand's ultimate slows the enemy if you hit an enemy that has already been hit by an ability, which means the Liandry's effect is going to be doubled, because if you immobilize or slow an enemy while Liandry's is applied, the effect doubles, dealing double the damage. So that is a huge power spike for Rest right now. So I'm curious to see how he does in these later game teamfights, because now he is essentially going to start to come online. He has 2 items, which is really still not a lot, but he's actually going to be dealing decent amount of damage with his build. And if he hits his abilities well during teamfights, he's going to do massive damage. Right here, it should be an easy defense for Sentinels. They have the Brand, who pushes waves very, very easily. And Lucian, Gumi on the Lucian actually, sitting on 3 items. Very, very strong right now. However, guys, he does not have any armor penetration yet, which is really bad for Immortals right now, because Jarvan, MTS on the Jarvan, Sheesh on the Riven, and then also Beginnings on the Galio all have stacked armor, guys. As you can see, all of them have stacked armor items, and even Mali on the Corki has the armor boots. So while the Lucian, while Gumi on the Lucian is looking scary right now with the heavy crit build, I would say that he's really not going to do a lot of damage against this composition of Sentinels right now. He needs to get armor penetration as fast as he can. Like, whenever he can, just go ahead and get it, because even though you have 3 items, you're not going to do a lot of damage into it. They have so much armor, so that is the problem that Immortals has right now. And if I'm looking into the builds a little bit further, we can see Lepmont on the Olaf is actually going to do a lot of damage. He has the Black Cleaver, which shreds the armor of Sentinels, and of course, combined with the Lulu, he's going to do a lot of damage. Talking about Iraqi Zoro, actually, he's level 14 already on the Garen. Sheesh, on the other hand, is also level 14 on the Riven. So both sides are equal, even though Immortals is 5,000 gold ahead. And oh, what an insane engage right there. Beginnings just falls. He doesn't fall. He falls to the area. He falls to the area of Hoon. Hoon's area killed him. What a tragedy right there. Oh, Sentinel's face checks the bush, and right here Lepmont keeps going. MTS with a beautiful ultimate, however, keeping everyone in. But there comes the redemption, healing up everyone. And take a look at Iraqi Zoro, guys. This is the power of Immortals. Rest on the Brand did an amazing amount of damage, however. Like, he did a lot of damage, but Iraqi Zoro just did way more right there. The redemption was perfect, healing up everyone, dealing massive damage to Sentinels, and him soaking up all the damage. And now we can finally see Gume building some armor penetration, which is gonna allow him to deal some damage actually. And Rest, my man Brent is sitting on 2 items still. He is struggling in this game. He just doesn't have a lot of gold, as you can see. Compared to Gume, he's 3,000 gold behind, which is a whole item, by the way. Immortals is starting off the dragon, which you cannot do. You cannot do this into a Brand. So let's take a look at what happens here. Sheesh is waiting to engage. An ultimate from Hoon as well. And, ooh, they're doing... What is happening? A teleport comes through from the Jarvan as well. Sheesh is ready to engage and he used his ultimate. He did use his ultimate and there comes the Ragnarok from Olaf. So much is happening right now, but Rest is sitting in the backline. Take a look at Rest right there on the Brand, dealing massive damage, killing off Gume as well. All of this has been a fiesta for Sentinels, essentially wasting time, so Rest on the Brand can deal a massive amount of damage. Oh, who gets the kill ever? What is happening? Who's gonna get this dragon? AP Gragas can actually steal away dragons. He doesn't do it, however. Sheesh smites it away. He doesn't die, by the way, with the Death Dance. The Death Dance is healing him up constantly, and Sentinels takes away the Elder Dragon, guys. What an amazing team fight right there. Sentinels just playing it so incredibly well. Iraqi Zoro is on the opposite side, by the way, tanking up so much damage, but it was just not quite enough. And as we look into the replay, by the way, let's take a look at how all of this happens. Beginnings engaged with the Galio. Beautiful ultimate as well. Iraqi Zoro soaking up damage, killing MTS with his ultimate. But take a look at Rest on the Brand. He is the one dealing the damage. He is the one constantly burning the enemies. He is the one applying the anti-healing. And he is the one finishing off everyone. Hoon, you know, nearly securing the dragon actually, because AP Gragas does a lot of damage and has the potential to steal away dragons, but Sheesh has none of it. He secures it with the smite and he takes this dragon, and now the game is a very, very rough one to win for Immortals, because now they're up against the Sentinels roster, who has the Elder Ocean Dragon with 2 extra dragons with it. They can still win the game, don't get me wrong, they can still win the game because it's a very good team basically, it's very good players, but it's gonna be hard because especially Iraqi Zoro in the front line is gonna be suffering a lot from that true damage that he's gonna be taking from Sentinels because of the Elder Dragon. And now Rest on the Brand, who's sitting on level 15 and sitting on 3 items, nearly 4 items. He's going for the Rylai's Scepter to be slowing the enemies constantly. That's gonna be a lot of damage. It's interesting to see how Rest is not going for a Rabadon's Death Cap. Neither is he going for a Void Staff. It's a bit hard. Oh, actually, this is risky from Sentinels. They're taking a lot of damage from the Baron, and their armors and magic resist are getting reduced by the Baron, so they need to just back off and just take a fight. Hoon is on level 15, by the way, and the Elder Ocean Dragon doesn't stop Hoon from one-shotting them. Keep that in mind. Elder Ocean Dragon gives them lifesteal, and Hoon one-shots them. So if Hoon is able to get on Rest on that Brand, or if he's able to get on Mali on the Corki, he can still one-shot them. So that's why I'm saying there's still potential for Immortals to win this game. They just have to play it perfectly, really. Oh, you can see Sentinels is being very careful. Iraqi Zoro is probably just gonna, yeah, he's gonna flash out. He has none of it. He could have probably survived without the flash, but I imagine that he used the flash just so he wouldn't take a lot of damage right there. And here we can see MTS forcing a flash from Charm. This is totally worth it because MTS's ultimate on Jarvan is gonna be on a lower cooldown than Charm's flash. It's gonna be on a lower cooldown. So here they actually start up the Baron again, which yet again I find a bit questionable because their armors and magic resist are getting reduced, and now Immortals can actually engage, and we can see Lepmont using his ultimate but not able to do anything with it. And now the Brand damage. Look at that Brand. This is all Brand, by the way. Like over half of this damage is Brand, just so you know. This is when Brand comes online, and this is when Brand does the massive damage. Unfortunately, Iraqi Zoro can't even use his ultimate right here, and it's starting to look like Sentinels is gonna actually take away the very first game from Immortals. Oi, guys. Oi. This is a banger game, and Immortals is giving away this Baron, by the way. They're pushing the bot lane, which I really love to see because they can't really contest it. This is really nice to see because, you know, they're trying to steal it with Hoon on the Gragas. That's their only chance to steal it. And instead, they're just taking the bot lane inhibitor. This is really the only thing that they could do. Here, yet again, you can see it. MTS with the ultimate forcing away a flash. These are the subtle things that are helping Sentinels a lot because constantly forcing away the flash allows MTS to just waste flashes from Immortals, which means they won't have their flashes during teamfights. Right here, Immortals is actually able to escape. The reason is because of the Cloud Dragon. Cloud Dragon gives a lot of movement speed, and I really love how a lot of people think Cloud Dragon is useless, but in that situation right there, Lepmont was able to escape because of the Cloud Dragon. And if they didn't have the Cloud Dragon, he would have just died. That is the importance of Cloud Dragon. It makes you 5% faster, 10% out of combat, by the way, which allows you to win in situations like that. So all Sentinels has to do right now, they have the Elder Dragon, they have the Baron, just push 2 or 3 lanes. Don't take a fight, just push. Just play it passively and push. So let's take a look at what they actually do. We can see Mali, you know, he's doing exactly this. He's just damaging Araki, making sure Araki takes the true damage. And we can see mid lane and the bot lane are getting pushed. You know, slowly but steadily, they're gonna break into the nexus of Immortals. You can see it right here. Immortals has no response to this. They just can't defend, as you can see. Lepmont is desperately trying to defend, but he just can't. And he's even forced to use his ultimate right there. And you can see it now. An absolute disaster for Immortals. 2 turrets have been taken. They're just trying to defend against the Baron minions. They're trying to defend against the Elder Dragon, but they very likely cannot. Sentinels is just pushing, hammering into the Nexus, and they're gonna get it, guys. Sentinels takes the game against Immortals. The very first game has been taken from Immortals. This is the very first loss and the beginning of the series. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. You guys can watch it on the YouTube channel of Wild Rift Esports, or you can watch it on Twitch. I really recommend you to watch this finals if you haven't already. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.